Alright, good evening or good morning everyone, for those of you who are tuning in from the United States. I'm still in Spain. By the way, this is Tim Anderson, otherwise known as Renfail. I am the executive producer of the Saga of Lucimia MMORPG, and I've finally got a few minutes of spare time. Excuse me. It's about 9:30 here in the morning in Spain. We have finally finished up with our government work for the Costa Brava Tourism Board, and my wife and I have moved on to Madrid, where we're going to spend a week, and then we're going to be in Barcelona for a week. So since we're here and now we're on our own time, I finally wanted to kind of take the time to run you guys through one of the latest builds and show you a little bit of the character creation process that we've got going on here with the Saga of Lucimia. So obviously, this is just the development build, and I'll log in here. It's nothing special. This is very, very rough format. It's still being worked on. This is not anything complete. It's not what it's going to be in its final form. We're just, this is what we're using internally, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update so that you guys can see what we're working on. For those of you who have backed the Indiegogo campaign, we are working very hard to get this the alpha available to everybody by the summer here. Once I get back to Mexico in mid-June, we'll be settling down to finish all the business paperwork side of things behind the game studio, and once that happens, we'll be opening up the pre-orders on the website and the official alpha servers. So sometime this summer. In the meantime, this is what the coding team has been working on. It's nearing completion in terms of what we're going to be using for the testing phase. So I already have my own character created, which is here. And this is something that we created a few months ago, actually, when we first started into the alpha server. But I wanted to show you guys a little bit of the character creation process this morning, so that you can understand what we're doing and how we're working through this, and how this is all going to work. So again, this is all in very rough format, so bear with me. So when you go into a character creation screen, in our game, obviously we're working on stats. We're working with 8 stats. 1, 2, 3, making sure. Strength, Dex, Intelligence, Cunning, Constitution, Charisma, Discipline, and Perception. And those stats will reflect the various skills that you have. Some skills are supplementary skills, which are standalone skills, and then you have your mastery skills. Now, at character creation, and Giovanni has talked about this at greater length in the past, we're kind of doing a mixture between like a classic D&D setting as well as like the Ultima Online or Elder Scrolls. I guess Archage is the other one that he has brought up to my attention, where you're picking skills and you have masteries. So when you go into character creation, you're going to pick a primary, secondary, and tertiary stat selection. Those stats will govern your mastery selections and the skills within those masteries. So for example, anatomy is a mastery branch, and within that branch of anatomy are skills that fall within that particular mastery. Guts and Rage is the taunting line for tanks. So taunt falls within the mastery, selection of that mastery range. Shield is another mastery line, so any abilities related to shields will be underneath that mastery. And then of course swords. So if you are a sword master, you'll have a sword mastery, and all of your sword abilities will fall under that mastery. So when you choose your primary, secondary, and tertiary stats here in the beginning of the game, you will then choose your mastery skills associated with those abilities, your mastery lines, excuse me, and then you'll be able to choose a few starting skills within the mastery lines, as well as a handful of supplementary skills, which can be from any of the stats within the game. They're not relegated to just your primary, secondary, or tertiary. You will be starting off with a very limited selection, and then it's going to be up to you and your friends to go out into the world and find the rest of the abilities via trainers. And remember, we've said specifically that the vast majority of advanced trainers are not going to be found in the major city points. You're going to have to be going out and finding those in the wild. Now what we've done, and this is again in the rough format, You'll be able to choose male and female. Obviously this doesn't toggle right now because we don't have male and female avatars working yet. We do, this is something else. Right now we have 3 quote-unquote classes. These are archetype builds that we're going to be testing within the alpha. For those of you who are going to be joining us, we're going to be testing combat with 3 basic principles. The tank and spank, which is the fighter, a basic ranged character, and then a basic scholar character. Now, in the long run, when we eventually do this for the final build, there will only be 2 selections here on the build template. There will be Adventurer and Scholar. And then depending on whether or not you want to work with ranged abilities or thief-like abilities and so on and so forth, then your avatar will start to change throughout the character selection process based upon the skills that you choose. Obviously, you'll be able to have all the standard modifications for an MMORPG. Height, hair, skin color, and everything else. So in the meantime, if you notice here that when I choose these pre-selected builds, the stats change, and that's because what we've done is we've already created a little. I think it's 43 or 44. I don't remember the exact count. There are several pre-created builds. Over 40 of them, and these are traditional builds: fighter, thief, bard, monk, things you would typically see in a Dungeons and Dragons campaign or a traditional RPG that has classes. Now in our game you have the ability to create something completely from scratch. Now we don't have that in yet. That's still coming. What we're working on right now is we're only using these predefined builds because that's what we want players to test at first, because we need to start testing some of these basic combat abilities. And once that changes, once that's a little bit more advanced, we'll start working on having the actual customization aspect in. Once that happens, what you'll see well, I guess I should go back to the beginning here. What we've done here is, when you choose a pre-selected build, we have given you a suggested primary, secondary, and tertiary stat already selected for you. And then on top of that, you're going to have 6 additional points that you can use. Let's say I want to take my strength up a couple of points more, my cunning or whatever, take my con down. You'll have 6 additional points that you can use above and beyond the recommendations that we've given. So for example, I could bump my charisma up a couple more points, or leave it at 10. The caveat is that we will not allow any stat to go below 10, so that you will have to make some decisions about how you want to create your character class. Now, if you're going to be creating a character completely from scratch, all of these will be set to 10, and you're going to have a set amount of points that you can spend throughout this tree and define your character however you want. The caveat will be that you can have no more than 1 stat at 20. I believe no more than 2 stats at 18 is what we're currently working with. Above and beyond that, you can adjust the stats as you see fit. The reason for that is because we don't want characters, and it's because it's impossible. Only a god would be able to be super fast, super strong, super intelligent, etc. So, you can be exceptionally healthy and have a 20 con, pretty decent at dex and pretty decent at strength, but you're always just going to be, your constitution, you're a tank, you're a big buff guy, you've got lots of hit points, you are strong, but that's your primary thing. And then if you're a ranged character, obviously it's dex. And then because this would be a build where we're looking at a little more of the jack of all trades, you would have your dex all the way up, but then we also need a good intelligence score, a good cunning score, a decent con score, a decent perception score for the various thief related abilities, and tracking abilities and bow abilities. So this is a little more rounded out compared to this character, which is just 20, 18, 18, and then 12s, and then you can adjust as needed. So the builds that we've created are there so that if you don't want to create a character completely from scratch, we will have predefined stats already selected for you. You will be able to modify those stats, obviously. The one thing you will not be able to modify are the pre-selected masteries. Those will be chosen for you. And within the caveat to this is that if you choose to create your own class completely from scratch, you have the flexibility of making whatever you want. Um, the difference is that when you choose a pre-built character, we will have one or two advanced abilities already thrown in there. For example, with the Ranger, they're going to have advanced tracking from start. So if you just start a character from scratch and you choose tracking, it's just going to be normal tracking. If you want to learn advanced tracking, you're going to have to go out into the wild, find the advanced tracker, hope that you have the faction and have done any pre-required quests to gain his trust and so on and so forth. But if you choose a ranger from scratch, you'll already have that ability given to you. Now, we're not going to be giving pre-builds lots and lots and lots of things. The bonus of that is because you have less flexibility in the customization process, we're giving you one or two advanced abilities for that particular class. Then when it comes to the supplementary skills, you'll still have the option to choose whatever customized supplementary skills you want to choose. So the character creation process is going to be very, very fluid. It's going to be very customizable. Again, you'll be able to choose one of ours that have already been built for you, and then you'll be able to go back, or you'll be able to go back and choose something completely from scratch and be able to assign your stats as you desire. So, this is something where you can see here, with this particular character, you can take these stats up and down. We're still working on all of this, but it's nearing completion. I just wanted to kind of get you guys back in and show you. So, I could choose to, for example, create this character. Let's call it test character. Create this. I haven't allocated the points, so obviously I need to put all my points in here. Then I would create this character. I still haven't allocated all my points, so we're still working on finalizing this. This was not what it's going to be looking like upon completion. Obviously you won't be able to take your stats all the way up to this point, but we are working on getting all this refined. And then you create, it's still not, I think I gotta go back to the fighter. Okay, so again, like I said, there's still a couple bugs in here, and we're still working on getting this worked out. So there's the test character that I've created, and then if I wanted to log in with him, just click play, wait here a second for it to drop me into the game world, and voila, here is test, and I am now in the game, and I can run around and have fun. So that's basically what we're working on right now. We're still, like I said, we're still finishing up the character creation process. I think that's nearing completion. We have a team meeting later on today. For me, it'll be later on today, or early in the morning, Friday morning, for the rest of our team members. We're going to be having a team meeting today. I've got a coder meeting this weekend, and we're going to be figuring out where we're at. I've been, like I said, busy for the last few weeks here in Spain, so now that I'm back to my normal schedule, I'm getting caught up with the team to figure out what they've been working on for the past few weeks, and I'm going to be getting you guys updated as quickly as I can. So thanks so much for those of you who have been following along. I know it's been a long process. We've been working on this now for 14 months. We are getting closer and closer every day to having an actual alpha playable for everybody. We're logging in on a daily basis, testing things. We just brought on a new programmer, I believe yesterday. I got the contract signed a couple of days ago, so he's getting in game with us, start working on things. We've got the game trailer continuing being worked on. Joey's working on the tavern interior. So there's a lot of different things being worked on, so we appreciate your support. Thanks for following along. If you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. We will be keeping you guys updated as often as possible. There's still about a week and a half left on the Indiegogo campaign, so for those of you who haven't donated to the Indiegogo campaign, feel free. That's the only way you're going to be able to get in and test the game with us. The reason for that is because we feel that making it free is just going to allow a bunch of trolls in, and we don't want people who are just going to come in and judge the game based off of graphics or anything else. We want people who believe in the vision enough to actually want to support it. And we feel that by people paying to get into the actual alpha will bring in a crowd that are far more invested in what we're doing and will actually be involved in the game. So anyway, thanks so much for your support, guys. We really appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. Until next time, that's it from me. I'm Tim Anderson from Saga of Lucimia. Cheers.